Something so interesting has been moving through my experience, and it comes with this threshold I'm sitting in where pregnancy is about to end, birth is about to happen, but I'm in the unknown of when this will occur. And each day is just revealing something deeper or something for me to look at, and it's been interesting. So there is days, especially last week, the mind had gripped to the idea that baby should arrive around 38 weeks, because that's what, or slash when my other two babies arrived. But being a key difference was that they were both induced because of medical interventions. And so the mind had a preempted idea as to when baby should arrive. And so that week it was almost like I was sitting in anticipation and waiting for labor to begin. And when it didn't, there was this deep, annoyance is the best word that I can use. And just complete overwhelm of pregnancy. As in, I was so over the discomfort, so over the sore hips, so over the questions of, is this it? Is this it? What's this sensation? Because what's super interesting for me as well is this is my third baby, but I've never actually naturally experienced labor for myself. I've experienced labor, but it's been induced, it's been controlled, it's been forced upon me. And so this time around has been so different and such a fucking teaching moment for me in so many areas. There's so many different avenues I could go down for this pregnancy, but the one thing that's standing out for me is just the level of awareness that I have with this body. So I am feeling all of the sensations. I am feeling the pressure deeper down as, I move towards birth, whenever that is. The other evening, Maddie and I thought labor was coming on. There was a pattern forming. But that night taught me what it felt like, the difference between a contraction of my stomach and the uterus compared to when baby moved. So it was this learning process for me, because I just can't remember what labor felt like with my other babies. Especially Bentley, he was very much had an epidural before they even broke my water, because it was very close to the experience of the brain bleed and stroke, and it was a very controlled environment and experience. And then Grace, again, was an induced labor, but I sense now from everything that I know, she wasn't ready, and so her positioning wasn't ideal, and so it ended up turning into an emergency C-section. But again, that labor was very different. It was in my back. She was spine on spine. There was never a contraction in the front and in my uterus. It all felt on my back, and I was laying on my back, and it was just very different to what I'm experiencing this time around. And so that night just really taught me the difference between just baby's movement, because they are so strong and so mobile at the moment, that sometimes I do stand up and I'm like, holy shit, because they've just kicked the shit out of my vagina. But yeah, so because I'm sensing so much and I'm quite aware of all of the sensations moving through my body, there has been this underlining anticipation, or is this it? Is this it? And even Maddie, because he's sitting there just watching me go through everything, and like I'll get up off the lounge and start swaying, and he's like, is this a contraction? How are you feeling? Is this a cramp? And then also like the family members reaching out each day asking me how I am, which is so beautiful. But again, it just kind of fed this underlying anticipation. And so then each morning when I had to wake up and I still hadn't gone into labor, because I have this sense that it'll be at night time. It seems to be once Maddie gets home, I'm in my safe space, things can move, things start happening. Like, not saying I know exactly that it's going to happen at night time, but it just seems to be that pattern at the moment of like, once Maddie's home, once Grace is home, there's like everyone's here. I don't need to like call anyone. The people I need are here. And yeah, so everything's been feeding this anticipation, like feeling within. And it was because the mind was gripping to the date or the time that it believed baby would arrive. And now I'm beyond that. I'm like a week beyond what the mind had anticipated. And even this morning, I had a big cry because my sleep was not shocking. It was shit. With the amount of pressure on my hips, and you can only lay on like in certain ways. And so I'm just swapping from left to right, and the amount of pressure and weight on my hips just makes them go numb. And so it's just a very uncomfortable experience. And then I've been having some nosebleeds, and so it's just like during the middle of the nosebleed, I'm just crying my eyes out like, can this fucking stop now? Can we just move into birth? Can I please go through the pain or the experience of birth now, so that when I get out of it, I don't have to worry about uncomfortable hips and the pressure that I'm feeling like deep in my legs and glutes. But it's just this experience of quote unquote waiting has been showing me so much. So it showed me, first of all, where the mind had created a story and a narrative around when baby should arrive, and when they didn't, that made me have like that, just emotions arose, and I like had a breakdown and just crying, like I just wanted it over. And then following that, it was like almost questioning the experience and like, why am I wanting this to end at 38 weeks? Like I could see the story that the mind had created around that time frame. But then this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted a natural labor, a natural birth, a natural unfolding, and trust that the body and baby will move towards birth when it's right. And so, yeah, this sense of waiting has been showing me so much, because I can see all of these different areas where the mind has created stories and almost created suffering for myself, because it's so uncomfortable with the unknown, because this can happen at any time. This can even spread over to like 42 weeks. My midwife said that we'll have a different discussion if we hit July, and I still haven't gone into labor. So we're at the 19th of June. So there's still like a couple of weeks for this to unfold. And my quote unquote due date is in 3 days. So there's still space, right? There's still this unknown realm that I sit in. And yesterday there was this, it felt like a fear that was arising, and I could sense it was mind created, because I couldn't feel it in my body, like the heaviness or the deepness of it. There was a bodily sensation or reaction to the fear, but the fear was like death, right? There was this, and the mind had associated death with when birth arrives, there's going to be a death of me or the baby. And so I sort of sat with that, but like, I know deep down that's, yes, it's a possibility, but it was just a fear of an ending. And the body reacted to the ending, or like the story that the mind was creating. It's not really reacting to the ending because the body is so fucking intelligent and knows that this is an ending of pregnancy. Birth is then the threshold into the next phase. And there is like a death that happens because pregnancy dies. That experience ends within that moment of holding your baby. But the mind was creating this fear and story around that sense that something's coming to an end. Like, the mind cannot comprehend what pregnancy is, birth, and everything around it is what I'm feeling. And I've been quite gentle with the mind and the thoughts that arise, and will allow the emotions that arise with these thoughts to move through me because I don't want to hold on to them and I don't want to accumulate anything. So then it's when I'm moving into birth, the mind has taken hold and the mind's trying to give birth, because that's really not what I want. Because I've heard from so many people that birth is 80% a mental game. But when they say that to me, it actually sounds very off-putting because I don't live in the mind that much. There is mind activity, but I kind of like watch it and I can see when I kind of move into a story and I grip onto it, whatever. But if I move into birth with the stance that it's a mental game, I will lose my connection with my body very quickly, and I can see it being a very painful and awful experience. So what I'm sensing for myself is almost this deep spaciousness within, where, and it's very interesting because I have not thought about birth. There's been a few visions or things that I've imagined happening, like when I hold baby, looking at Maddie, different things happening for the birth, but I haven't spent time projecting what I want to occur because I'm just wanting to stay in this moment. So then when labor does begin, I'm staying in every single moment it brings. I'm staying with the waves of each surge. I'm staying with the supportive space Maddie will create for me, or be like, he won't create it for me, but he'll be there. Like, I just want to remain in the present moment through everything that's coming. And the mind cannot grasp any of it. Any of it. And so, yeah, this unknown phase that I'm currently sitting in of when labor will begin is just, it feels a bit like a roller coaster because the mind will interpret some sensations or will add a story to certain things and almost want to take back control. But just, yeah, each time it's arising, I'm allowing the emotions that arise with the story to move through and dropping it as quickly as I can. Sometimes I'm like, it's a very short process, or sometimes it'll stay for a day. And it won't be till like Maddie gets home and I sort of talk it out that it can drop. But also, with this pregnancy, there has been so many external changes as well, with like career and work and business. And I feel on a very deep level that there's also a death of this version of Kate, like this identity of Kate, of being a mother of two, of being a conference manager. So there's like this huge, like I'm sitting here waiting, not sitting here waiting for birth, but I'm in this threshold between pregnancy and birth. But I'm in this threshold of a whole new identity coming through. And it's very interesting to sit with, because again, the mind wants to create stories around it or project into the future as to what I should be doing. I will catch myself like on Seek and looking at conference manager jobs and stuff, and it's like I haven't even entered the birth stage. And the mind is trying to create a career for me that's going to happen in 6 months' time. But something very, very interesting to me that sort of slid into my awareness the other day was around this concept. And I know a lot of women and mothers sense this, of getting back to themselves or getting their body back or returning to who they were or returning to like their routine and stuff after having baby. I noticed that isn't at the forefront of my mind. I cannot wait to wear jeans. Like, I cannot wait to wear clothes that are not baggy or bike shorts that are maternity leave wear. I cannot wait for it. But I don't have this sense that I need to rush into getting my life back, my body back, or anything like that. And also the concept of getting it back, quote unquote, like, I don't want to go back to the person that I was before this birth. I can sense this new character or this new way of living coming through, where it's going to look very different. But again, the mind grips all these fucking stories around what it should look like, and I should have a plan, and it's almost like I have awareness on one shoulder and the mind on the other, like an angel and a devil, being like, you need to have a plan, you need this to, you need your family business, the business you're creating with Maddie, to look in a certain way by the end of the year so that you don't have to go back to work, and you need this and you need that in place, and blah, 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 blah. And then awareness is like, you actually have space to breathe right now. You are in this perfect, spacious experience where you don't have to figure it out, and you have time to breathe, and you have time to move into the next version of yourself. There is no going back to that body. There is no going back to who you were. And it's almost this exploration, I can't even say that word, like feeling into who this next, or feeling into the next season of who this character is, who Kate is. And like, there's just a spaciousness to move into it. And there's been other things that have come up into my awareness during this time of sitting in this threshold of like, okay, so what kind of clothing do I want to wear when I come out of maternity wear? Because I feel this sense that I've outgrown sort of the clothing that I've got in my cupboard, and like what reflects the person that I'm feeling into. And again, like with my business, there's been like so many shifts and changes in this last few weeks of like how this looks for me, and what my website looks like, and what my business actually is. And yeah, I'm just finding this period between pregnancy ending and birth starting is such a deep, just trying to find the right words here, because it's very hard to explain. It's like this deep unraveling of the mind and all of the stories that it wants to bring to this period of time, because it's like, you should be busy, you should be doing that, blah, 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 blah. You can't spend your time just, tinkering away at websites and watching MasterChef reruns. And then there's these deeper awarenesses that are dropping in of like, who is it that you're going to move into? Or like, what are you sensing? And also asking me to stay with the sensations of the body and to become aware of what's moving and how baby's feeling. And it's a really interesting phase to sit in, especially too with the extra layer of ending conference managing work, because I almost sat in a waiting period with that as well, where I knew it was coming to an end a couple of weeks ago, but I still had to show up for the job until that, like, my final day. And it felt like such a struggle because of the mental narrative that was placed on it, being like, I'm outgrown this, I don't want to be this person anymore, but I still had like a month to go. So there was a growing phase there too, where I had to just accept what was happening. I had a month to go. I still had a paycheck to get. I had to teach and train someone else. And also sitting with the fact that it was coming to an end, and like, I couldn't rush this period. And the same with this phase right now. I can't rush this. I don't want to rush this, because I want the body to move into this so naturally that it just feels like the perfect next step. And so I feel like this whole conversation is kind of just around sitting in the unknown, or also like the threshold of you knowing that something's ending, whether that's a career or a version of you or a season of life. Like maybe a relationship is ending, but then you haven't entered a new one, and it's kind of like, what now? And what now is just living, is just being with what is, and knowing that your career is coming to an end, and maybe you don't have the answer for what your next step is, or just very much sitting with what is right now. And right now can show you so much. Life will move through you and unravel or show you like the mental narratives that you've got going on that are hindering you from moving forward. And sitting in this unknown is actually a beautiful space to be in, because you can use it to your advantage, in the sense that it's almost like a playful experience. It's kind of like, something's coming to an end, you don't know what's coming, so you can kind of sit and play with what you want to come, but then also sit with the narratives or the emotions or the mental gripping that comes through, and witnessing it and allowing it to move. Like, the idea of moving with life, or allowing life to move through you, is honestly the best and the most truest way to live this life. we try and anticipate things, we try and project into the future, we try and plan our lives, we try and we push so hard to make things happen in life. And we forget that life is happening through us. And if we were to release that resistance, then we will be able to experience far beyond what the mind could ever imagine. And that's why we're here. We're here to have all of these experiences. We're here for life to flow through us. And so this entire time of moving or not sitting and waiting, because I've been doing things, especially for our business and getting licensing underway and creating websites and fixing my business website, and just there's been quite a few things that have moved through, and we've sort of, without this time, the business Maddie and I are creating wouldn't be where it is right now if I was still working and had my focus somewhere else. So there's still a lot moving through me, but there's also, I think too, that's been something that I want to touch on as well. This business that I'm creating with Maddie, it's a civil company. It's in the realm of what he does, earth moving, excavation, that kind of thing. And after reading, what was it? The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. He's a spiritual teacher, he does spiritual talks and meditations, he lives in the woods, blah, blah, blah. But he ran $1 billion tech company, right, and built it from ground up, and went through this huge lawsuit of some employee that took money or laundering money or whatever it was, I don't know the term. But that book allowed me to see that I don't have to place an identity on my business or the work that I work, or the realm that I work within. Right, so I've been pushing hard against the conference managing and wanting my business to flourish without realizing that there are so many other avenues that could allow me to work in my business, which isn't not conference managing, but what is that? And so when Maddie brought this business idea to me, it felt like, first of all, we're in the place to be absolute fucking team members. And for me to learn this side of things. But also, it sort of opened me up to, I can do both, or I can do multiple things. Maybe even once I'm sort of out of mat leave, I help with building retreats because I have that experience of events, and I have my business, and I have our family business. It's really opened me up to not putting myself in a box of what my life should look like. Because working with Maddie on this business has been amazing for our relationship, because we're at this place where we know our strengths, and so we can sort of hold each other up. He knows the work, I don't, but then I can do all of the paperwork and setting up and looking into things and learning to then inform him, so then that lifts him up in that construction area. It's been fun to do with him, but it's something that I'd never imagined before now. It was sort of I'll do my business over here with my spiritual woohoo stuff, and you do yours over there. Whereas now, it's such a team effort, and we have amazing conversations. about where we want the business to go and the ideas. And like even Grace is like aware when we're chatting in the office. She's like, oh, am I interrupting a business conversation? It's like, yes, you are, girl. Yeah, so there's just been this sitting in this unknown has been interesting, has been a beautiful experience of allowing, like I have space to allow everything to move through me, if that makes sense. So I have space to see the mind stories, see the narratives it's creating about how uncomfortable the body is, and I can see the emotions that come up with it, but I'm feeling it. I'm also seeing the presence or being in the present moment a lot more as well, and not putting these shoulds on me that I should be doing something, I shouldn't be just resting. And it's been this beautiful and at times very uncomfortable experience, but such a deep teaching for me, because it's literally the integration of soul and human. It's this humanness of the discomfort, the mental narratives that are created, and then the soul, like the spirit, the awareness that's coming through and asking me to just be present, just allow things to move through me, allow business ideas and business tasks to move through, and to not anticipate what birth is going to just be with each sensation. Like, it has been this beautifully, wildly uncomfortable and expansive season. And I think too that's a beautiful way to see life, is seasons of life. Just like the cycles of our seasons, we have summer, winter, autumn, spring. It's like us as humans go through different seasons. And if we're not moving through seasons and we're not expanding, we're not moving beyond what is, and we're not moving beyond what is, but moving beyond who you can be, what this experience can bring to you. And it's teaching me a lot about the flow of a day as well, because I'm very used to dropping Grace off, coming back, having a coffee in hand, sitting at my computer, working, having a lunch break. Okay, now it's time to go get Grace. Then it's dinner, and it's like that routine used to suit me. It used to complement my life. Now, I don't like that. I like the fluentness of life. I like being able to jump on a webinar for an hour, have a conversation then with Maddie for an hour about something that I've just learned that could help the business, and then moving into watching a MasterChef replay while I eat some lunch, and then I'm going to go get Grace, then we're going to go to the shop. Like, I love the flow of life, and that's also what this season is teaching me, of like how life can feel and move differently, and I still get things done, if not more so, because I'm just following the energy of each moment. So sometimes, especially right now being pregnant, I will need a nap after having a shitty sleep, or I need to sit on the pregnancy ball and move my hips around to help baby feel better or whatever. But there is space for me to just allow life to move through me and for me to listen. And I think I'm getting out of the point now where it used to feel very jarring. And now it's like a beautiful experience. Jarring in the sense of I didn't like sitting with what's unknown, like what's next. Shouldn't I plan something? Shouldn't I be like locking something in? Whereas now it's like, what does my body need in this moment? What do I need? And just moving with it. That felt like a huge tangent, and I feel like I went on so many different avenues around pregnancy and birth and threshold and mind activity and body and awareness. But yeah, there's just been a lot a lot moving through me during this experience. And I'm so grateful for it. And yeah, and we'll keep seeing what unfolds. We'll see what life has in store. And I will share as it feels necessary to. But yeah, if anything that I spoke about sort of hit not a nerve, but if it hit a nerve or if it resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. This is what I want to build too, is have these conversations, share about life, share about realness, share about being a human and a soul and how to integrate the two and have both, like, live as yourself completely, as both this deep soul that you are and this human character, and just share from this place, and then have people reach out that things that I said resonate, or they're going through the same season, or something that I said clicked for them around their own mind activity. This is what I'm trying to also build. So if anything resonated, reach out. If anything sort of stirred up emotions, also reach out to me. I'm on Instagram, or just do a comment, whatever. But yeah, I'd love to have these conversations also offline with individuals and connect to other humans that are living this incredible life experience as well. Love to you all.